As Scotty from an alternate Star Trek universe said one time, Captain, there'll be sea beast here. God, that was terrible. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's movie review of the Netflix original movie, The Sea Beast. This film is directed by Chris Williams. So in this kind of alternate world that is Netflix's Sea Beast, this film is an animated film that kind of tells the tale of this hunting crew that, thanks to the king and queen, has become ultimate famous due to the fact that they are hunting these gigantic creatures called sea beasts. And the reason they're doing that is because the sea beasts are looked upon as enemies, as kind of creatures that have been taking down large ships. So it is basically upon this quest of Captain Crow, who's voiced by Jared Harris, and Jacob, of course, who's voiced by Karl Urban, to take down these sea creatures. And of course we have a white whale, which is named Red, who's like a Moby Dick, who's this gigantic creature that Captain Crow's been searching out for years. And along comes this stowaway who's very much in love with Captain Crow and the Jacob and the stories of this hunting ship, who's of course voiced by Zaris-Angel Hator, who plays Maisie. And as you would expect from a film like this, the concept of what this world is and the stories being told may not exactly what you would be called faithful or truthful. There may be a much bigger story at play here that may involve like a twist of like lies and stuff like that, I guess you could say. So I've never been one to not want to voice my opinion when it comes to Netflix's animation properties or Netflix in general when it comes to their movie making stuff. Yes, I do get to see these movies early, but you have to have an honest opinion. And so when I go into an animation film, especially from Netflix, their batting average hasn't been very good at all. I mean, I think Over the Moon, I think it was the Glenn Keane movie, was okay, it was fine. I know a lot of people loved it, got an Oscar nomination, stuff like that. But you look at like Back to the Outback and stuff like that, and other films that they've done, and it's a pretty poor. It's pretty, like, if you think about baseball or something like that, the batting average has been like a 150. It's been really bad. So going into a movie like this, especially the trailers, they didn't really interest me that much. I didn't feel that this movie looked very good, especially from an animation standpoint. But it does have Chris Williams as a director, who is known for like Big Hero 6 and of course Moana, which are two fantastic Disney films. I'm guessing that Netflix brought him aboard to do an animated film because they felt like he had the chops to maybe help them get out of the slump that they're in when it comes to animation films. But this was they showed another trailer that was part of their Geek Week or whatever thing they did about a month ago as this recording. And people started watching this movie and actually said it was really good. And I'm one to kind of go in optimistic, or not optimistic, I am skeptical about this movie. But I want to go in at least attempting to find some value out of a movie like this that I didn't find in stuff like Back to the Outback. So once again, positive reviews, heard it was really good. So now I have a chance to see it. I've seen it. And so for my honest review, outside of some like minor quibbles and cobbles and some of my problems with the animation, this is a pretty competently directed, pretty well acted, pretty fun and entertaining movie that has a lot of great messages to it. I was actually quite surprised not only how much I enjoyed this film, but the fact that it had a lot of heart to it. This is a film that evokes a lot of sameness with a lot of other films. You'll know exactly what film this represents when you see it, which I won't spoil because I want you to be able to see the movie. But it's a film that has characters that a lot of tropes in the sense of how the world views today, with the misinterpretations and misconceptions of things. The idea is that the things you are led to believe in books and stories and stuff like that may not be exactly what you think. And it's just a story that is very familiar, but also tries to be entertaining, and I actually think it absolutely works. And watching Maisie, the young girl who's kind of our main character that we look through the eyes of, she's just a very bubbly, very powerful young girl who does a very memorable job of just showing us a world that is from an innocent point of view. And I really like those stories. This feels on a sense of what Chris Williams is as a director and what he's been known for doing. There's a lot of like similarity to other movies like Big Hero 6 and Moana in this film. There's a lovable creature character. There's the world is interesting and kind of cool to look at, and just the ideas being presented. You have characters that are both strong-willed but have some sympathy and empathy towards them. And I just felt that even though I had seen this movie before a billion times, I still really enjoyed this movie. I was really shocked. This is a movie that really took me by surprise. And I think it will, if you give it a chance, it will you as well, because I think this is great for kids and adults because it has great messages on both both sides. And that's what makes great animated films. That's why Disney is as good at what they do, because they can allow adults and allow kids to watch a film and see both sides of the coin and enjoy it. This is a 4-quadrant family film that does it pretty spectacularly. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Film. It's kind of great that they got, Jared Harris, who's fantastic, and Karl Urban, who has had this kind of career that's kind of bolstered, with The Boys and of course Dread and stuff like that, and of course Lord of the Rings. And I feel like that this is just a movie that is just fun. It's entertaining. It doesn't invent the wheel hardly ever, but it is a movie that really does try to entertain, and I think it does it successfully. I think the creatures are fun to look at. I think the characters are fun to look at. Is not going to insult your intelligence at all, and I think that's just a great thing to have. It really is, and it really works. It invokes that Disney feel, and that's what I didn't expect out of this film. Now, with that said, this film is too long. It's an hour and 57 minutes, but there is 13 minutes of end credits, I guess you could say. The animation is not great. When I say they're good to look at, because they're simplified characters and simplified creatures. I don't think Netflix's animation department, unless they have other animation departments working for them, really have a good sense of how to draw characters. I think Chris Williams does a really decent job of creating a world that's entertaining to watch, but there's a very rubbery look to these characters. There's a very shiny aspect. It does definitely feel like a very direct to video type of feel to it, Norm of the North style, where the animation feels very just kind of cheap in a lot of aspects. Even the creatures look a little cheap. And the music's not that great. It's very traditional, and the bad guys, when they show up, they're just kind of one note in a lot of respects. But those are what I would call minor quibbles. They're not major. The animation may be a little major. That's why I kind of put it in its own thing. But when I say minor, I still think it's an enjoyable film. I just think that some of those things are problems when it comes to how the story plays out and how it eventually comes to its conclusion. And I think in the end, they are problems that Netflix has, and until they get, better and better at what they do, hopefully, unless they fired everyone, I guess I've heard, in their animation department, I just don't see the animation ever getting better. They may tell great stories, but sometimes you need better animation to tell those stories. And once again, Disney and Pixar, though they have unlimited funds, they really have found a way to make things look good. And I really wish other companies, DreamWorks does this really well, but I wish, the lower tier companies, the ones that are, not the Disneys or DreamWorks, find a way to make better looking films. And until that happens, I'm always going to knock it for that. So, but outside of that, outside of those quibbles and quabbles and, the animation, stuff like that, once again, to conclude this review, I really enjoyed this film. Is it my favorite film of the year? No, probably won't make it the top 10, but I definitely recommend this for all families. It's fun, it's entertaining. It is PG, so it may scare kids a little bit, but I think when it comes to Netflix and their kind of quality of entertainment, this is one of the better ones. This is going to be right there with Over the Moon, like I said, where people are going to really enjoy this movie when they see it. And yeah, I really think it's a fun, entertaining film that has some similarities to other films, but I think it does it in a pretty justifiable, fun way in a lot of aspects. So there you go. But with that said, that will do it. That'll be my take on, of course, the Netflix's The Sea Beast. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, what is your favorite Netflix animated film? Are you looking forward to seeing this film? All that good stuff. Let me know. Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.